Welcome to the Hermitess Podcast with Andrea Cox, the only plant-based astrology podcast focusing on Hermetic principles, cellular detoxification, and mystery teachings. Andrea's interviews include her celebrity clients, NBA ball players, musical composers, detoxification specialists, and world-renowned healers just like Andrea. Andrea is a model-turned-celebrity detox specialist, intuitive healer, and holistic wellness and life coach. You will find only authentic people interviewed on this podcast. Real recognizes real. Andrea prides herself on only inviting those who are uniquely creative.
Hello and welcome to the Hermitess Podcast. Today we have Jennifer Fitzgerald on. Jennifer is an herbalist with over 15 years of experience in the health and fitness industry. As a former personal trainer, she knows there is no quick fix to getting in shape, and you can't out-exercise bad nutrition. Exercise, nutrition, lifestyle, and rest must all be considered if you want to live your best life. Jennifer has spent countless hours developing custom tea blends to help with the most common situations. Additionally, she is available for one-on-one consultations for more complex matters and complete lifestyle reconstruction. After years of training clients, competing in Miss Bikini Universe, and consuming a primal diet, she realized there still was something missing to living healthy. Enter the herbs. To yield healing is to bring awareness to what caused the damage. We were given gifts of mild medicinal plants all around the planet to prevent and reverse suffering. The only piece of the puzzle in question is, are you willing to make the lifestyle shifts necessary to live more harmoniously with nature? Oh, I love your bio. It's more about education than it is you. And that's one of the reasons I invited you on here. I started following you, and I know you're building your brand and you're building your business, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just opened in September.
You just opened in September. And for all of you that are just listening, Jennifer looks so familiar to me. And you said Miss Bikini USA. And now I know why you look so familiar. I had no idea. So I competed and was a fitness model for, oh goodness, over a decade. Was on the cover of Oxygen and Muscular Development and all that. So, and I competed in a lot of competitions. So I probably literally saw you in Miami. I don't know if you ever competed in
Miami many times.
Yeah. So that's probably why I was like, gosh, she looks familiar. So I want to get right into it. I was so attracted to the piece about you. You have a certain, I would say, angelic peacefulness about you that a lot of people don't have. And is that the herbs? Were you always that way? Or do you really think the herbs have something to do with it?
I know the herbs have something to do with it. On top of that, I started my spiritual journey, which is what led me to the herbs. And, finding that peace within and that connection to God, to my angels, to my spirit guides, now has kind of removed that control factor for me. I used to always feel like I needed to control the situations and was very anxious because of that. And then letting go of all of that need to control and understanding that I'm on a divine path and that things will work out in the order that they are meant to, as planned by the divine order, not by me. So it's not my plan anymore. I'm going with the flow and I'm being led. And I'm being led very quickly. So this new journey is just unfolding so fast for me.
I love that. And what month were you born? What is your sun sign, out of curiosity?
I am the sun sign. I'm a Leo, August.
Are you a Leo? I love that.
Yeah.
All my friends, my dad was a Leo. My grandma was a Leo. I love Leos. Are you August born?
August 14th.
Oh, that's one day before my dad's birthday or my grandma's birthday. That's lovely. So, when it comes to calmness, and not necessarily a sedative, but more of calming the nervous system, because there's a lot of talk on the nervous system and why we need to calm the nervous system. What herbs do you recommend? I mean, I personally think of like rhodiola, ashwagandha. What do you, kava kava, what do you recommend?
My favorite is lemon balm.
Mm-hmm.
And lemon balm has single-handedly changed my anxiety. And in doing research on lemon balm, I found out that it works for 6 hours after consumption of calming your nervous system.
Okay.
And when we talk about nerves, we have to realize that we have the sympathetic or the parasympathetic nervous system. And most of us run in this sympathetic nervous system where we are fight or flight. We're constantly on the go. We're triggered easy. We're jumpy. And we have to switch that back off. And that's why we rest and that's why we meditate. But if we're not doing that properly, we could be in fight or flight all day long, all night long. You're never resting. So having something like an herb that can actually switch you into parasympathetic is key to healing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that. And I was sharing with my beautiful assistant before we came on, I was like, okay, 5 p.m. will never work for me again. And I was so taken out of a calm mood I had been in all day long. You know, I had a colonic this morning, I meditated, I got vitamin D in the sun with my dogs. I planted some herbs I picked up at Trader Joe's. I saw my family, and then I knew I had to rush home. So when that adrenaline rush comes on, if our cortisol, correct me if I'm wrong, right? If I have an herbalist history myself. If our cortisol is elevated, we will be in fight or flight mode, correct?
Yes, it's also the adrenal glands. The adrenaline kicks in.
Okay, so what would you recommend for someone that's completely healthy like myself, who has been a vegan for 26 years, who is usually really, really grounded, but external stressors tend to throw me. They can take me from 0 to 60. And I'm really trying to eliminate any external stressors in my life.
Unfortunately, we can't eliminate them all, right? They're always going to be there. They're always going to pop up. Right. So like I was saying with the lemon balm, that does help for 6 hours. So if you know that you're about to go out into the world and you could be in traffic or you have to wait in line or something is not possibly going to go your way or as planned, you're going to have stress. So having that lemon balm tea before you leave the house, you're shielded for 6 hours.
Wow.
You know, for myself, I'm nervous to speak right now and I have my tea here and it didn't kick in until about 15 minutes before we started. I started feeling the nerves. So I was like, okay, let me make sure that I have a cup of tea with me.
Yeah, I noticed that astrologically, it matters what's in your midhaven. So midhaven is how we are seen in the workplace and our ability to speak on camera. I have Leo in my midhaven. So even though I'm a Pisces and, Scorpio, Libra, a lot of Scorpio and Pisces in my chart and Cancer, a lot of water, a lot of emotions, that Leo in midhaven is like, makes it easy for me to go on camera. It's like second day. But, so let me ask you more about the lemon balm. Is the lemon balm something, you mentioned tea, that you recommend people do in tea, or can they do a tincture? Can they do it in essential oil and just put a little on their upper lip? Is it?
Yeah, there's many ways, right, to get that in your system. I prefer tea over tincture because I don't drink alcohol. And even though it's just such a small amount, I really don't prefer to have that in my body. So I stick with the tea. And also what I've learned along the way is that herbs work better together. So to have a complex, to have multiple herbs together, so they feed off of each other and they're stronger together. Okay. So all of my blends have about 10 to 15 ingredients in them. And then they are all coherent. They're all working together. So in the case of the anxiety hex, I have lemon balm, Tulsi, holy basil, which is basically a treat-all, right? That covers everything. Chamomile to also calm and soothe, right? And then I have a focuser so that, sometimes caffeine seems to be the way to go, right? Like I need some focus, I need some help, I need some caffeine, but that gives you more anxiety, more jitters.
And it's the adrenal gland.
Yes, exactly. And it drains your minerals as well. Mm-hmm. So to have something like a ginseng in there and angelica root that can help you still stay focused, and it feels like it's energy, but it's not. It's just clarity. It's just focus.
Yeah, I can go back 10 years on my YouTube channel, Andrea Cox TV, where I was making elixir tonics with gynostema and guayasa and hoshu wu to keep my hair blonde, and ginseng astragalus, like all kinds of, I know gynostema is a form of ginseng, right? How do you feel?
It is.
Yeah, gynostema is one of my favorite herbs.
Love it.
Being almost half a century young, I feel like it's an herb that really keeps you youthful. There was a time where I did, I think 10 days, instead of doing a water fast, I did just gynostema tea. I just sipped on gynostema tea the whole time. I find that it relaxes you when you need it, and it gives you energy when you need it. Is that referred to as adaptogen?
So it's an adaptogen, and with any adaptogen, they will conform to your body and your needs, and they will go to the areas of your body that need it the most. And that's when you have to realize that these herbs are intelligent. Wow. And that you're taking on that essence or that spirit of the plant. And that spirit is now within you, and it's going to work to correct whatever needs to be corrected.
I love that. I love that. When I have clients come and do a cleanse, I take them through an aloe sasha ho cleanse, which is an herb that a lot of people aren't familiar with. I don't know. Have you heard of aloe sasha?
I have not.
It's an herb. It's similar to ayahuasca, but it's not the same at all. It's a major kidney cleanser, a major liver detoxifier. And what I usually do is sit the raw herb, on just like a wooden bowl on the counter the whole week, and have them go by and speak to it and tell the herb, what do you need, right? Like, please return me to my youth. Please help me with my anxiety. Please help me get pregnant. Please, whatever you need, we speak it to the herb. And it's a very kind of medicine woman way to incorporate herbs. And also, and I want to ask you this, my front yard, I'm in the outskirts of, I'm in the Sonora Desert, we'll say that. I don't want to say where I'm at. And my whole yard is covered with yellow wildflowers right now. And I always ask the tree or the bush, what, can I take this branch? Do you do that as well? Or are you a little more free with your herbs?
No, I talk to my herbs big time. I do ask for permission. I do thank them for sacrificing their life for me. And I also, when I make the blends, before I seal them, I talk to them as well. So every blend I am in here talking, especially for whatever it's for. This is Boundaries with Love. And I talk to the herbs and I ask them to help that person to set clear boundaries that align with their truest self, or whatever the case is, depending on that herb. And I give it a little kiss and I seal it off. So I do.
I love that. I want to talk about your blends. I want to also talk about how you got into herbs. So you were into fitness, you were into working out, and I have two questions. So how did you get into this? How did you get in?
This is the part that I think I'm the most nervous about, because I'm going to be very vulnerable here. And I haven't told this story on camera yet. But I started therapy in about 2021. It was right during the midst of COVID and being on lockdown and being home with my whole family, all in lockdown with me. And I just started having lots of triggers happening, and I started therapy. And in going through that, I started to realize I had a lot of childhood trauma that I was still carrying around with me. And my therapist dived really deep into that. We started doing guided meditations and quantum healing. And in the process, I was able to speak with spirit guides, and I was able to connect with my great-great-grandmother from this life, who was Native American, 100% Native American. And I was asking her, I just wish I had a book with all of your information, with all of your guidance that you could just hand to me. And she was like, I'm here. You ask the questions, I will provide the answers. I will send you the signs. And at that time, being home with a family of 5 of us, realizing, what if the food chain breaks tomorrow? How am I going to feed my kids? How am I going to be my kid's doctor, my kid's teacher, my kid's hairstylist? I mean, literally everything now is in my lap. How am I going to make that work if everything in the outside world changes as we know it? Mm-hmm. And that led me into, okay, I need a home apothecary. I need to learn about these herbs. And in talking to my great-great-grandmother, knowing she had such a connection with these herbs. So then I ended up doing a past life regression another time. And I found out that I was an herbalist in a past life. And I was led by a bird spirit that would guide me and would tell me what herbs to get. And I was also punished and killed in many lives for this. And I started to realize that's where that fear was coming from, that I had said too much before, I had helped too much, or it was just not widely accepted. It's looked at as sorcery or a witchy woman, or however it was perceived by the people that didn't fully understand. And when I came out of this regression, my therapist had an herbal book in her hand. And she said, I had planned on giving this to you today. So it was just all of the synchronicity came together. I started reading the book. I really meditated on this for the next week. And then I signed up for Herbal School a week later.
And which herbal school did you attend?
Chestnut School of Herbal Medicine.
Did you? And did
Yes.
you go and do the hands-on training there?
No, I have not yet. I've only been in the program for a year, so I'm still completing that.
I think it goes hand in hand. You know, when I've been in the health industry, you know, detoxing people, helping people adopt more of a plant-based way of eating, which isn't for everyone, but it's definitely worked for me. And, you know, I think years ago when I got into herbs and when I got into veganism, you know, I think I went vegan 26 years ago. You said vegan, and I remember going on the news in Dayton, Ohio, raw vegan, and people thought I meant sushi because I used the word raw. And now it's like everyone knows about it, you know? And 10 years ago when I was making elixir tonics on my YouTube channels with 10 herbs and telling people to replace their coffee, people were just like, what is all this? Where do you get all this? Is all this expensive? And it actually was. I think Ron Teagarden's Dragon Herbs was one of the only places at that time, other than bulk herbs, I could get them. And, you know, what turned me on to herbs is I saw a shaman who was from, oh goodness, I think she was from Costa Rica. She was a colon hydrotherapist in Ohio. I was super young. I was probably 20 years old. And she said, everyone has one herb. And this is what I wanted to ask you as well. And she goes, I see 3 for you though. I see 3 herbs for you. She said, your number 1 herb is rhodiola. You're going to need to take rhodiola. And I don't even take it anymore. And I don't know why. I'm going to order your herbs right now. The second is She said the second is holy basil and the third is gynostema. And yeah, and I do find that when I put those 3 together with a little ashwagandha, you know, I'm always mixing things in my kitchen. I really find that I have homeostasis and balance no matter what is going on in my life. So I love that you have these herbal blends. Now, do you feel like everyone has one sacred herb that's really indicative of their healing process?
I would say more like 3, like what the shaman said to you, because they do work better together than they do solo.
And what are your herbal blends? What are they? Can you go through a few of them with us? I know you
Sure.
I love
that. So I developed 15 blends right now that are pre-made, ready to go. I also do custom blends. So depending on what that person is feeling, their medication, and many more factors, I can make a custom blend as well. But the 15 that I made were for like the most common things that I've seen so far. And I have 5 in the area of mental health, 5 for physical health, and 5 for spiritual health.
I love it. What are the 5 for mental health?
So for mental health, we have mind over gut matters. And that is the connection of the mind and the gut. And most people don't know that most of your feel-good chemicals are actually made in your stomach. You think of serotonin being a brain chemical or melatonin, a brain, but it's not. It's actually made in your stomach, 90% of it. Mm-hmm. And so if you have a slow digestion, you're not going to be processing the feeling good like you should.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So to connect those two together, there's usually digestion issues, there's esophagus issues all the way down, like heartburn, GERD, and then there's mental clarity issues. So they need help with just clearing out the junk in their brain as well. So that's why I developed Mind Over Gut Matters.
Okay.
Anxiety Hex is my personal favorite. That's one I drink every day.
I love that name. Anxiety Hex.
Yeah. That. Boundaries with Love is another mental one. And that's for somebody who is too open, who gives way too much of themselves, and then always finds themselves depressed or not receiving what they need to receive, because instead they have just become a doormat for people to come and go. Instead of making
that needs to be everywhere.
Yes.
I don't need that one, because I learned that lesson about 20 years ago. I'm a little selfish at this. But I don't call it selfishness. I call it extremely healthy boundaries. Like someone's know when I'm happy, when I'm upset, if I need sleep, if I need this, because I make myself crystal clear. I don't waver when it comes to my health. So, but I have met so many clients along the way that they, everything from their husbands to even their, teenage kids to their parents. They're in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and still their parents are, dictating what they do and say. So I love that you made that one.
I see that one very, very common with a lot of my clients. And I always tell them, staying silent to keep the peace is causing a war inside of you. So you need to set those clear boundaries so you can be happy. You don't need to please everybody else. You don't need to look for validation outside. It comes from inside.
So we have the gut one, the hex one, the boundaries.
And then we have Steady As We Go, which is for mood polarities or bipolar. Okay. So for the people that swing and they end up very manic. And when you're in that manic state, you tend to make really bad decisions, really rush decisions, or you're just searching for a quick fix. So that one kind of soothes everything and just keeps you steady and calm so that you can see the clear answer. And then the last one is for insomnia. So that one's called Pleasurable Sleep. And that one will help ease you into a good sleep, keep you sleep all night, and help you have lucid dreaming as well.
And all of these are teas, right?
Yes. Everything I do right now is tea. I'm trying to make that my focus for now.
I love that. And what are some other, if you just were to pick 3 more blends, your most popular, what would they be?
I think the Goddess Awakening is becoming the quick new front runner of the teas. All of my girls that I've given samples to, they absolutely love it. I've already had so many reorders of that one. That one, I just love it because it helps you get in touch with the feminine side and just radiate that inner goddess out. And to see my friends who are shy or they just kind of keep that to themselves now feel this power, this inner power that's coming out is beautiful to watch. To see it unfold is amazing.
I feel like that must have ginseng in it, right?
It does. It has Siberian ginseng.
I love that. Now, can I ask how you source your herbs? Because I know a lot of people source herbs, and I personally think there's certain places you want to source from and certain places maybe you don't. What's your thoughts on that?
Yes, I agree. So I buy all of my herbs from 2 suppliers. They're very well known. Mountain Rose Herbs is one of them, and the other one is Anima Mundi. And I'm a huge fan of her. And everything that they do is organic or wildcrafted to the highest standards. And I really resonate with that. I'm not ordering stuff on Amazon. I'm getting the best quality ingredients because at the end of the day, this is going in your body to help you. And I don't know where that stuff came. I need to know that it came from the right place before I give it to you, before I put my name on it.
I absolutely love that. You know, I want to hear about your apothecary. You probably had your husband make like a corner of your home into an apothecary or what have you. But I always
Thank God he loves me.
Yeah, right. Where's mine? I would love one as well. I've had some pretty long relationships though. So, you know, what I always tell my clients when they're like, no, what do you do? I'm like, I'm a healer. I heal you through herbs, living foods, and by teaching you how to access your Akashic records. And people are always like, but how does a holistic wellness coach do that? So what I love about you is you actually found spirituality and then got into the herbs. It was like, you're one of the only people that go about it the right way. You went about it the way I found the herbs, 15 years ago. Is I had a spiritual awakening after a 30-day water fast, and I just got into herbalism, and it was like one step after the other. So I love that. Tell me about your apothecary. Because I have one too. Mine's very small, but I have a little, a pantry, a walk-in pantry that I have set up as an apothecary and some shelves in the garage. So tell me about that.
Okay, so mine continues to grow every day. I have a double cabinet in the kitchen that is full to the max. It's, 3 deep on every shelf, 3 shelves full. And then I have a home office, which now I have a setup in there to hold more herbs. Currently, I took over the whole pool table. And we have a second home. We have a ranch that's 3 hours away from our other home. And again, I took over all the cabinets in the kitchen there. So it's taken over. It's everywhere.
I absolutely love that. So Jennifer, how do people get your herbs? Because I'm ready to try at least 3. Definitely the gut one and the sleep one. I sleep like a baby though. So how do people try your herbs?
I have a website. It's iftheherbfits.com. And there is a full store there, so you can purchase the tea blends right through there. I also am developing an app. It's not ready yet, but that will be for my one-on-one clients. And their tea blend, their custom blend will be in the app, and they can always just reorder each month from there or set up auto deliveries as well.
I absolutely love that. Now, do you have the one app on your phone that lets you identify herbs when you're walking around?
I do, yes. I use the one from Seek by iNaturalist. That is the best one. It picks up on everything.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So I want to ask you something else. I want to ask you, how does your husband feel about this? When you first started this, was he like, oh gosh, Jennifer's into something again? And what month was he born? We want to know.
He's a Scorpio. So
I love him already. I love Scorpios, moon rising. I have 6 placements in Scorpio. I'm more of a Scorpio than him. I'm so Scorpio. They're so loyal. I love Scorpios. So what did he say when you first got into this?
So, he supports me no matter what I do. But of course, there was always that, like, don't take it too far, slow down, calm down. Along the way, of course, but he has been so supportive.
$20,000 to order herbs. I need like $20,000 to order herbs, or no. So he was like, okay, just kind of go at your own pace.
Yeah, he was just going with it, in the beginning. And then I would teach him along the way. The things I would learn that day, I would share with him that night when he would come home from work. And he was very open to all of this, as COVID was happening, of course, our whole structure was unraveling as we know it. And now we're open to so many new things, right? This is not new though. Herbs have been around for centuries, used by our ancestors. So why did they disappear? Why is there not enough research? Every article you see, it says it has claims for helping with this, this, and this, but not enough research. Why not? We have scientists. We have all this technology. So why aren't we studying this? It seems like it's hidden for a reason. So diving into that, well, this person had this experience with it. It worked great for them, so why don't we try it? So we just started trying all these herbs, and I was making all these different teas. And now he's at the point where he walks in the kitchen and he's like, are we going to have tea? So now he asked for it.
I love that. Now, how long have you been together? Just out of curiosity?
7 years.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And he embraces you. And do you give your kids herbs? And is there anything you want to tell our viewers and our listeners about maybe being cautious of? I know that there's one herb you shouldn't take when you're pregnant. I don't know if it's an herb, but tribulus. Is tribulus considered an herb?
Yes.
Okay. So I know that, but are there any herbs that you need to be more cautious of when it comes to kids and things like that?
Of course, yes. I'm actually going to work on tea blends for children. So that is something that's upcoming in the future. I've had a lot of requests for that, but I personally have not done enough research on it to speak about it. But I know that feverfew is a great one. So if your child has a fever, feverfew is a beautiful herb to help them through that. Anything more gentle, like chamomile, they of course can have lavender. But for now, I'm not really up for recommending herbs for children. But if you are pregnant or nursing, there are so many herbs that you need to stay away from. So always do your research, always consult with your doctor. And then there are other herbs like blue lotus flower, for example, is one of my favorite herbs, but it does have psychoactive properties. So that is something that you should take when you are at home in a safe place and you are just going to be going to bed shortly after consuming it, not something that you want to get in a car and drive or go out really anywhere in the world. That's something that you should take at home for yourself.
So Jennifer, I want to ask you about microdosing. I know it's kind of herbal, it's kind of not, it's mushrooms. How do you feel about microdosing?
So I don't mind microdosing, but I really stand behind having a shaman and having an actual experience where you're taking a lot more than a micro amount, but you are being guided, because it takes a larger amount for you to be able to open yourself up to seeing spirits, to being able to talk to spirits, to fully understanding the oneness, the connectedness of everything. And I believe that same thing, when you're taking in that mushroom, you're taking in that mushroom spirit. And what is a mushroom? It's part of the mycelium network underground that connects every tree, all fungus, all plants together. And it is highly intelligent, right? This is a communication system underground. So when you're taking that in, you are understanding the oneness of the world and how connected everything is. So I believe that you should do this for a spiritual awakening. I believe it was Timothy O'Leary that said the first 7 times you
so, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you one more thing. Along this journey, what were you doing right before you became an herbalist? Were you a stay-at-home mom, which I think is the hardest job in the world? Were you training people at the gym? What were you doing right before you got into this?
Right before herbs, I was a stay-at-home mom, and I was having a hard time with it. Not the fact of taking care of my kids. I love my kids and I love being a mom, but I was having a hard time identity. I guess it was my ego was having a hard time, because I was always very good at whatever it is I put my mind to. And I always got that feedback from the clients. People always loved working with me. So to not hear, wow, you're doing a great job, you're amazing, I love working with you, and to hear this on a daily basis was hurting me. Like, I'm home all day, I'm putting my love and my effort into everything I do at home, and I wasn't getting like, hey mom, great job, like, house looks great, or, thanks for doing the laundry, or any of that. So I was really struggling, and I think I also had a bit of imposter syndrome and feeling like I didn't earn this. Because I had always worked. I've been working since I was 14 years old, and I've earned everything along the way. And my husband is very well off for himself. And to sit home and just be a housewife to me felt like I didn't earn this, didn't earn any of this. So I kind of struggled with that for a little while. Previous to being a stay-at-home mom, I ran my father's elevator company. So I had done that for 6 years before. And so in that transition of leaving his company and being home with the kids, I don't know, I struggled for a little while. And then until this herbalist dream was awoken, and I realized, oh my goodness, I can help people again. I can be in contact with people. It's something I'm very passionate about, and it just aligned for me.
Yeah. So we're going to link her website. I think you're going to really blow up and be huge. I knew the first time I came across you, I think it was a picture of you in your garden carrying a basket. And I was like, she's got something that all the other, don't get offended. But other herbalists don't have. And I feel like it's some kind of, I don't know your chart placements. If I saw your chart, I'd be able to tell you what it is. But
I'd love to do that with you another time.
Yeah, it's some kind of healing or some kind of struggle you went through and came out of that just is like beaming, like just an effervescent light around you, like a blue light. And I was like, wow, I'm so attracted to her vibe and what she's doing and her realness. That's the word I was looking for. It's not even authenticity. It's a realness of not trying to be fake or facade or something you're not. It's like, this is what I'm into. This is my passion. I love herbs. You know, yes, I'm a mother. Yes, I'm this. Yes, I'm a wife. Yes, I'm this. Yes, I used to be into fitness, but this is my passion and I'm going for it. And it is so attractive. So what is your Instagram handle so they can follow you there?
If the Herb Fits.
If the Herb Fits, and your website is iftheherbfits.com.
Correct. Yes.
And
I have to say, Andrea, I felt the same way about you when I first came across your page as well. And you really solidified for me that I didn't need to change. I didn't need to start not shaving my armpits or fit into this earthy vibe. I really felt like I didn't fit into herbalism at first when I came into it. I dye my hair and I'm girly, and I was like, I don't know. Am I going to have to conform? Am I going to have to change? And I kind of struggled feeling like I was splitting this fence. And then that's not me. I like to glam up. I like to be girly, and I still like to wear makeup and get my hair done. But I also have this profound love for earth, for nature, and for herbs.
Yeah, and I feel you so much. You're talking to someone who just had a spaz attack on my beautiful assistant because I had to come home and put makeup on, and I had ran around all day without makeup. I was like, I gotta go home, and you don't understand. I'm older. I have to put makeup on. But yeah, I just really love your vibe. And how did you come up, last question, with the name If the Herb Fits?
Well, my last name is Fitzgerald. And also we have a cattle ranch that is If the Horseshoe Fits, like our last name fits. And so when I was pondering the business name, it just came to me, If the Herb Fits, which is very fitting because there is an herb for every season and every reason. And there is an herb specifically for you as well. So if that herb fits.
I love it. Well, we're so grateful we had you. And you're like I think you're the second person, Pollyanna, a healer. We interviewed her in the kitchen, but only 2 people been interviewed in the kitchen because I don't know, I just felt like a kitchen vibe. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you greatly, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for listening. If you'd like to check out Andrea Cox's most recent 4th book, Eat Right for Your Zodiac, it's the first book to ever combine astrology with plant-based eating. Andrea's Akashic record readings, holistic wellness coaching, and intuitive life coaching services are sought out by both celebrities and ordinary, everyday people like Andrea herself. If you'd like to connect with her, you can find her at AndreaCox.com, on YouTube at both Andrea Cox TV and The Detox Intuitive, on Facebook at Andrea Lee Cox, and on Instagram at Raw Chef Andrea.